This question is interesting with the way things are sort of underlined, and there's just something about it that seems slightly perturbed, which is interesting. What would make a Calvinistic evangelist even get up in the morning when he knows that nothing he does will affect the outcome of his work?
Guaranteed success.
The same God who ordained the elect ordained the means and ordained the prayer warriors. My father was a church planter in French Canada, and this was during the hard years for most of his life when a large church had 35 or 40 people. And opposition was severe enough that on occasion we kids were beaten up because we were maudits Protestants, damn Protestants. Baptist ministers in French Canada, and there weren't many of them, spent a total of 8 years together in jail between 50 and 52 when I was just a little gaffer. And then the Belgian Congo, as it then was, erupted into the civil war that turned it into Zaire. And at the time, there were many missionaries that returned home because it was just too dangerous to be there. And some of them were Americans who came back to the US and looked around for another Francophone part of the world. And a few of them, a handful, moved up into French Canada because at least we spoke French. We might not have had the decency to be Africans, but at least we spoke French. And people like my dad were busy rejoicing that we were going to get some more workers, we were going to get some more help, do you see? Not one of them lasted more than 6 months. Not one. And by this time, I was in my teens in high school, so I knew a lot about just about everything. And I asked Dad, how come none of them had the sort of courage and stamina and godliness and perseverance to stick it out and do a good job under these circumstances? Why were they all quitting? And my father tried to reason with me and say, well, he was the most reasonable man, unlike his son. He said, you've got to understand that they've served in parts of the world where they've seen a lot of fruit, they've seen lots of conversions, they've built schools and hospitals. They just cannot imagine serving in a part of the world where you see very, very little fruit. And so they come up here, they see almost nothing, and they conclude that God doesn't want them here. They must have misread his providential guidance. So I said, something I regret to this day, then why don't you go somewhere and make your life more fruitful? He wheeled on me and he said, because I believe God has many people in this place. And he walked out of the room. Now, don't you see? That's exactly the encouragement that the Apostle Paul was given by God. Preach on, Paul. I've got many people in this place. It's election that grounds perseverance. Otherwise, all it is style and mechanics.